Barb the Last Berserker, Dan Abdo.
Hey, Barney, thanks so much for having me. Real
Yeah.
excited to be here.
You represent the trifecta of everything that I interview. I interview Vermont artists and authors, children's book artists and creators, and also comic book creators. And you do all three. See? Yeah, see, it's like the pyramid of all previous guests just tip up to the very top is Dan Abdo right at the top. See,
all downhill
we connected through the Kids Comic Unite group. Also, too, serendipitously enough, around that time, it's like the stars were aligning. My daughter brought home the book Barb the Last Berserker. Read that, and I said, that name looks really familiar. And then I said, that is the same Dan that I've already like virtually met online through the Kids Comic Unite. We read through that book, and to my great happiness and surprise, there was also a second book that just came out, correct?
Yeah, that's right. It came out in October, last October.
Right.
So So the third book is actually hot off, like right on its heels. The third book is coming out this spring. Spring or the summer. I always get all the release dates mixed up in my head, but third book is coming out soon.
Talk to us a little bit about, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, you're the co-creator. It's you, and you have your best friend growing up, and that you worked at, that you guys got together. You were stuck in the back room in the the high end part of the art department. You started working from there. You guys kind of like hit it off, and you've been basically inseparable ever since, correct?
Yeah. So we actually both grew up in Montpelier, and we met at Montpelier High. We met, like as you were saying, in the independent art room, which was essentially like a broom closet that, like, kids who were just like drawn on their own. We had a great art teacher whose name was Barb Boston Hutchins, and she let kids who just wanted to like do their own thing, they could go back there and just draw and make comics and create things. And so we were drawing comics back in high school, and then Jason, he was a year older than me. He ended up going to RISD, and he was like, "You got to go. It's so fun. Like, you have to come." So I kind of followed him there, and then we just kind of kept on working together, just never stopped writing and making work together. And after college, we both kind of got into the animation game, and we started like pitching shows. We would like come up with show ideas and pitch those, and had some success there. And kind of just, it's like we're constantly doing new things, like, animation, writing, comics, but like we love working together. So we've just been keeping it up.
Right. And also too, for everybody out there, just so Dan and Jason are, yes, you might recognize the name. They are also the ones that made the famed Colace commercial. So
yeah. I still get messages about the Colace commercial. It's still airing. It's like still on TV. It's so funny.
I know, it's a brilliant commercial. See right there. So you guys you jumped into animation, and you did that for a bit. And so was it a natural transition, or was it a very specific transition to say, let's go in to start making some kids books?
It was really natural, and in fact, it feels like maybe we should have done it a lot earlier. It's like our whole thing has always been kind of like coming up with ideas for stories, and so for a really long time, we were like, these stories need to be animated shows. Like, we created a show called Rocket Monkeys, which it aired. It was mostly in Canada. It was like a Canadian production company, Canadian animation company that made it, and then Teletoons, which is a Canadian network, financed most of it. But it did play on Nicktoons and really played all over the world on different networks. But so that, like, we had some experience in television there, and then we kind of like sold some other, like, did some pilots and did stuff like that. And the whole time we were doing that, we were animating and directing animation for commercials, like for that Colace job and like other, other commercial work. Part of creating work, like creating stories for animation, is creating pitch books. It's like you're like coming up with characters and story ideas and all this stuff. And like just pour like our souls into these pitch books. It's like we would just try to make these amazing things. And so finally and then if the show doesn't go, or if like the pilot doesn't go, no one sees it, right? It's just like this thing that just sits on your shelf. So we were like, we were coming up with this new story idea, and we were like, let's make a comic, and like that will be the pitch book, And it's like something just so we can like, I'm a big fan of the MoCA Comic Arts Festival, the Museum of Comic and Cartooning Arts in New York. Like I would go to that every year. And so we were like, we'll do it for that. We'll just like rent a table and we'll make this comic of this idea that we had already been like bouncing around, And so it had a great response. It's like we like sold it was just a black and white. We actually had it printed up at Minuteman Press here in Montpelier. Mm-hmm. And this was like the first like incarnation of Barb. But it was really, really fun. And it was just a great experience. And, some people saw it, and eventually it made its way to Simon & Schuster. And they were like, do this, like do what you did in this black and white comic for 250 pages and in color. And it's like, we'll make a book. So that was kind of like our road to graphic novels and comics.
I'm really curious also too about the world building aspect of what you created for Barb. So did you and Jason actually create the entire meta plot out? Like, do you know? I mean, you don't have to give details, but do you know? Is there a certain number of books to this, and do you already have a master meta plot already marked out?
So we kind of had the idea for like the first, like this arc that's happening right now, that was kind of figured out. It didn't shake out exactly how we thought it was going to. So we thought that we would wrap it up in 2 books. And so when we wrote the second book, it was like there was just so much in it that they were like, this could be 2 books. The second book can be 2 books. So like right now, the arc that we're in, which is kind of like the Witch Head arc, it's like Witch Head is the big villain that they're battling. That wraps up in the 3rd book. And we actually just started working on the 4th book. And that is a whole new, that's actually going to be a standalone story. It's like, that's going to be one self-contained story. And I think that, but I'm not positive. I'm not sure. It's like our thinking is like, oh, maybe we can do a couple books that are like self-contained standalone stories, but there is something to, I feel like there's something to like the Barb world that like, it like kind of, it wants to be these like fantasy epics, like it wants to be these like sprawling stories. So I don't know, we'll kind of see what happens, I think.
Right. Because it's interesting. I was watching, I was checking out the Kids Comic Unite conversation you had there about 8 months ago, and they did mention the issues of continuity, making sure that everything looks the same as you go through there. Now, when it comes to that world building aspect, do you have like a developmental editor or somebody that comes in that says, actually, this isn't how this works, or this isn't how the science behind like the snot cannons or something like that? Like, do you actually have people that check the book before it goes to publish like that?
So we have like, there's kind of a team of editors. Like we have amazing editors at Simon & Schuster. Working with Kendra Levine, and then also Chloe Foglia, she's actually another RISD friend. She's a book designer, but she's kind of also been helping to edit this. And then we have Tom Daly, who lays out the book. He also kind of adds an editorial eye. There's even more people in that. It really is a team effort. But like, continuity is our enemy. It's like we are not continuity. But like they are like on top of it because kids are on top of it. When the armband is on the wrong thing, or like, 2 books ago we said that like the portal to Shadonia was in this place. It like still needs to be in that place. It's like all that stuff really matters. And I feel like we've gotten a lot better at it. It's like before kind of like digging into book 4, like I just went through and like read all the books again. So it's like, okay, it's like now I know where, where everything is. And we're really into like maps and diagrams, and like we do a lot of that kind of fun stuff. So it's like we kind of have a nice, we have a little bit of like a breadcrumb trail that I can go back and like see where everything is.
Kids are way smarter today than we were when we were kids at that age. 100%. Like, is there something where you have to actually like get into more in depth of like politics, governments, like, laws, like magic systems? Like, how deep do you have to go when you're making like an epic like Barb?
Yeah, well, it's definitely like one thing that I've noticed is that like we'll often just like throw out little details here and there, just for fun, just to like kind of create this like rich, like visually interesting and like, an interesting story. But like kids are like, well, like what happened to Patch's eye? Like what happened to Barb's dad? Like what happened? Like it's like they want to know, like they want all these threads to have like
Right,
to go somewhere. So
right,
it's like, but I love it too because it's like it just keeps the world just keeps like unraveling. It just keeps getting
right,
bigger and bigger and bigger. And like one thing that's really fun is like in every book we add a new map, like a new map of a city or a new map of like, and it's just like and like going into those maps, it's like we're filling in all these details and making all this stuff, and it just keeps like getting larger and larger. It's
right.
it's super fun. Like the third book, we go to Pork Chops town where he grew up, Gettysburg, and just like you kind of find out all about like Pork Chop's family and like how like their culture and like it's a really fun world to play in. Like I really
Right.
love working there.
How close or how territorial are you and Jason to the story? Say, for instance, if somebody wanted to say, "Hey, like you say, I want to write a fan fiction of what happened to Barb's grandparents or something along those lines." Is there some level of like with like the publisher could say, "Hey, would you mind if another author wrote a piece of this world, hypothetically speaking?"
That's a really good question. I mean, so like people send in their artwork all the time, which I love. I think it's
Yeah.
so cool. And another thing that has been happening a lot is people are sending in like costumes that they're making. And it's just like I love it. Like the more that people want to play in this world, like I am so into it. And like lots
Right.
of shadow blades, like dads and moms are making shadow blades for their daughters. It's so cool. Or like the tiara, like headband things. Um, I haven't seen anyone like trying to like create some fan fiction, but like I'm gonna go for it. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
think that would be great. In terms of someone else like actually making a book in this world, I feel like that would be tricky.
Right.
Like I think I don't know. It's like it does feel kind of like this is like we're really close to it. Like we really
Right.
care about it and are like it is kind of like our baby in some sense. Um, but I don't know. Never say never. It's like who knows? It's like I like the idea for this world. I like it to grow. Like I think that's something that I'm excited about. Like I would always like to keep my eye on it and make sure that like it feels, especially Barb herself. Like I don't want someone writing something for Barb that isn't like in character.
Right. Yeah.
But the more that this world grows and the more people that can enjoy it, I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Right. Now, you released this. I think you first pitched this idea back in 2016, correct? Was the Barb one, or was it
Uh,
the Blueberry and Pancake? Was the 2016 one?
I think that was Blueberry and Pancakes. I think Barb was
Okay.
more like 2019, 2018.
Okay.
And
Right.
then the first Barb book came out in 2020.
Yeah.
And the second one, no, maybe the first one came out in 21 and the second one came out in 22. And the
Right.
third one's coming out in 23.
Because you mentioned you and Jason worked really closely. You basically you write and draw it together. And it takes a very discriminating eye to even kind of tell the difference between the styles because you've two been working together for so long. I think you mentioned in an interview that, maybe like was it you draw a better foot than Jason or something like that. Like you guys are like always joking back and forth who can draw this better than that. Did you always work close together, like in the same room together, and then, or you've always been working separately, like from a distance?
So we used to be right next to each other, shoulder to shoulder. So like
Right.
when we were both like, so we both lived in Brooklyn for forever, for like I was there for 18 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And we were animation directors. We are still animation directors for this company called Hornet Inc., which is like kind of
Yeah.
a cool like boutique animation production house in New York. And so when we were in New York living there, our desks, we were really next to each other. And so then when I went to Vermont and Jason went to New Jersey and we were working remote, we didn't skip a beat. It's like
Hmm.
we're on the phone with each other every day, and it's really all through Google Drive. It's like we're typing in Google Drive. We use Google Slides to like put our artwork up there. And it's nice because it's like I can throw a JPEG up there and then he can take it down and draw on top of it and put it back up there. So it is like this like live collaboration that's always happening. So but I mean there are things like sometimes it's like, it is like we do have different, especially I feel like in the writing, sometimes it's more pronounced, but like we'll see it a different way. So it's like he might write something and I'm like, I think it should be more like this. And then I'll take it and rewrite it or mess with it. And then he'll take that and rewrite it and mess with it. Or, but sometimes too, it's like he'll write something and I'm like, this is like perfect. Let's just go with this, So it is this back and forth. But there's really almost no ego in it. It's all like about trying to make something that's going to be funny and cool and exciting. And that's going to like, emotionally affect our readers.
Do you like when you set up you set up your table and everything, do you actually have them on a webcam and you guys are just like talking to each other, or is it more like a texting back and forth as you're working?
It's both. Like usually kind of at the beginning of the day, we'll actually call each other and we just have each other on speakerphone. And it's like, I'm just drawing on my monitor here and he's drawing on his monitor and we're just talking and like, what did you watch last night? How was your weekend? And all that. Just kind of like at the office,
Right.
And it's also really nice too, because it's like drawing comics is kind of this like lonely, like solitary existence. So it's like talking to someone is really nice.
I'm kind of curious about how that conversation went when you said, hey, listen, we're going to move away. Was it like, don't worry, we'll still work with each other. Like technology is so much better now. Like how did that, because you guys were living together for so long, there must have been that conversation that would have been, looking at it from like the Dan and Jason, if there was a movie about you, that would be a scene in the movie where the two of you decide to not be together close by.
Totally. No, I totally remember. I was like, well, so what happened was my wife, Lindsay, and I, we had been talking about coming back to Vermont for a couple of years. We had like kind of like, we're just fantasizing about it and just like really wanted to get out of New York and come back to Vermont. And then a friend here who was like, oh, we have a neighbor. They're going to New Zealand for a year, so they need someone to look after their house. Like, why don't you guys come up and just try it out? So when I first told Jason, I was like, it's just for a year. Like, we're just going to try it out. Like we actually have a place in Brooklyn that we're actually in the process of selling now. But I was like, we're going to keep our place in Brooklyn. It's like, we're going to, this is just like, we're just going to see how it feels. And then like, of course, once we came up, we were like, we're never going back. So, but it was like, so it did feel kind of like low commitment and like, a little bit like it wasn't super scary. And at that same time, Jason was actually moving from, a couple years before that, Jason had moved from Brooklyn to New Jersey. So even though that's like just across the river, it does kind of feel like it's farther away. It's harder to come into the city. It's like, it's like we were kind of like probably, seeing each other 4 days a week or 3 days a week, in the office.
Right.
So it's like, was kind of like this like natural progression. It's like we both were having families and kids were growing and stuff like that. So,
right. From that, when you two physically were separated, how did that adjustment happen for technology wise? And how did that work to be able to share ideas? As you mentioned before, you talk to each other on the phone a bit at the beginning of each day.
Well, it's interesting because that was actually me coming to Vermont was actually the real impetus for us to move from animation direction, like solely pretty much is what we were doing all the time, into books.
Oh, wow.
Was like,
okay.
There was part of me, like when I first came up to Vermont, like it was before COVID. So it was like, I didn't know if the remote thing was going to fly. So I was like, I need something else. Like I need like another thing that like can be, like an income stream. So before I came to Vermont, I was like already talking to literary agents and stuff like that, like kind of like getting my stuff out there and getting our stuff out there. And then it all kind of happened at the same time where it was like, came up to Vermont, kind of sold some ideas, started working on those. Like there's always like kind of a little bit of a dead time between like you sell something and when you actually like have to start working on it. So in that time we would like come up with something else, sell another idea. So it kind of feels like it was the move, it was the separation that like was like, oh, we really got to like get this book thing going. And now it's like the book thing is like, it's our main focus. Like, we love it so much. And it's like I was saying earlier, like, it felt like, oh my God, why didn't we do this 10 years ago? It's like, it's so direct. There's so many less gatekeepers. It's like, you can see kids like pick up your book and read it, which is like totally amazing. It never gets old. Like, I love it so much. Like, I love talking to kids about the books, and like, I don't know, it's just a total blast. It's so fun.
Right. When you put the book together, how much did you have for the background of understanding how storyboarding works, and how much did that actually help you with your experience on creating your kids comic?
I think it helps a lot, actually. I mean, I think one thing, I think just like psychologically it helps, because it's like, we're not afraid of like making lots of drawings. It's like, when you're storyboarding, you're just like whipping out drawings super fast and like, oh, that's no good, that's not right, like, that's the wrong angle, like, no problem, just do another one. So it's like, when we're thumbing our stories, it really is kind of like, in some ways, like another draft of the writing. It's like, and then this happens, and it's just these really rough, loose thumbs, like you would see someone would do for like, if they're storyboarding a show or a film or something.
Right. When you and Jason decided, let's make, Barb the Last Berserker, there's a similar style to Blueberry and Pancakes, but I mean, it looks different than, say, like your Bear and Bird film. Like, how did you have to make a very distinct decision on what the style is going to look like for Barb the Last Berserker?
No, I would say Barb the Last Berserker is like our house style. Like, that's like how Jen and Jason draw. I think the Blueberry and Pancakes, it's funny, like, I feel like Blueberry and Pancakes, you can actually see quite a bit of evolution from like the first book to the 5th book that just came out in January. Because it's like, when the first one came out, I was kind of like, and I think this kind of spills over from the animation, from the advertising world a little bit, because I was kind of like, oh, this is going to be a kid's book. It's got to look like a kid's book. So I was like, we'll do less line work, and it'll be big graphic shapes and stuff like that, But then, like, as we just kept on making more and more stories and more books, it just kind of, I think, evolved into something that is more just like, this is how Dan and Jason draw. Because like, that's one thing in the advertising world, at least kind of the way that like our career went. It was like, companies and agencies would like come to Hornet, and they're like, okay, we're looking for something in this style. Like, do you have a director that can like do this style? And so like, we were constantly working in different styles, so it's like, it's kind of easy for us to be like, oh no, we can switch it up a little bit, and like, we can make it more like this or more like that.
Looking at your other work, I am kicking myself, very confused on why Randy and Fox is not an animated show.
Oh, I'm so glad you got to see Randy and Fox. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Randy and Fox, and you mentioned Bear and Bird earlier too. I think both of those like turned into Blueberry and Pancakes, right? It's like, there's definitely like, has all that like Randy and Fox were constantly like building all this crazy stuff, but like building contraptions and like zip lines, and that's totally Barry in Blueberry and Pancakes. He's like the inventor. He builds a new thing every book. But I'm psyched that you got a chance to see that. That was a blast. We had so much fun working on that. And it's like, working in animation, like, that's still like in our sights. Like, it's still something that we want to do. It's like, we love animated stories.
The challenge with animation, there's like too many cooks in the kitchen. There's way too many gatekeepers going on, and it's just hard. That's like you said, all the pointed edges just get rounded down. So with that said, it's there is more freedom in the sense of what you can get when you're making a book, but you still have guardrails though, right? When it comes to writing books.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like, we definitely do. I mean, and we have worked almost exclusively like in the kids realm,
Right.
Like Blueberry and Pancakes is really for like emerging readers. It's for kids who like maybe have never read a comic book before. It's like their first graphic novel. And then Barb's a little bit older, like, like 3rd to like 6th grade is kind of like, we like to say. It's like, that's kind of the sweet spot. But to be totally honest, I mean, it's like, we don't really let that kind of comes at the end. I guess. It's like when we're coming up with a story and we're like figuring it out, it's like we kind of just make the thing that we want to make, and then we're like, this might be too weird, or this might be too like complicated, like, but like when we're just like writing stuff and like laying out pages and drawing stuff, it's really for me and Jason. It's really for like something that we want to watch or read.
Right. Was there anything that you do work with your agent on? Was there anything in the book that like, no, that is really important. This is a really important part of it. Is there any like that banter back and forth that you would have with the publishers on some things?
Yeah, there always is. And it's interesting that you mentioned our agent, because she's a really important part of that. Like
Right.
her name is Erica Silverman, and she works for Stamola Literary Agency. And it's like, she's not just like making deals. Like she's like reading our work and she's like, I think this might work better, or this might like, or she knows also too, like she'll be like, oh, the market needs this. Like, this is something that you should focus on. Like there's an empty space in the market for this, which like that does like kind of inform like what the next thing we're gonna make,
Right.
But yeah, no, there's lots of that stuff. Like, and and it's funny too, because it's so intimate, right? It's like we're just working with a couple editors and one agent. It's like it doesn't feel I feel like personally, like I get less defensive. You know what I mean? It's like when someone like, because sometimes it's like you're getting notes from someone that you've never met before, like in television, and there's part of me that's like, I'm making this. Like, why are you telling me what I'm making? Like, I know, like, I'm the one who's making it. I know what it should be like. But like when it's just like four people talking, on like a Zoom chat, it's like they're just trying to make it the best thing that it can be, and like I think it's like always good not to be defensive and to like listen to someone and like, but it's easier to not be defensive when it's just people that you know and trust, and like, that they get it.
Is there anything that is like definitively yours or like definitively Jason's? Like, is there a joke or something or a writing style or something in there that the people that know you two saying, oh yeah, that was totally Dan. That's a Dan thing right there.
I don't know. That's a really good question. I mean, I got to be honest. Like, I am a huge fan of Jason Patterson. Like, I think that the way he draws is so awesome, and like he is definitely like one of the funniest. He's got like this amazing comedic mind. It's like we are just joking and cracking each other up all the time. So it's like I really trust him. You know what I mean? It's like when he comes up with a joke and like we're laughing about it, it's like, let's put it in. It's funny, And it's like he also, I don't know, it's like I think Jason brings a lot of heart to it. I think that's really true. I think sometimes like I'm a little bit more of the like big conceptual, like, oh, this is gonna be this like, I don't know, we're working on a story right now, and it's like I really want it to be about like dads and sons and all these complicated feelings between dads and sons. And Jason's like, yeah, but like the dad's really doing his best. Like Jason brings a lot of like optimism and heart to it, and like it's like it's really important. Like I think it's a real balance. It's like it's great. It's a really real partnership.
How does this work? So Barb the Berserker, is that IP like owned by you and Jason, or is there something with Simon and Schuster where they have rights to that as well?
Yeah, so that's like another that was like another new thing for us, like moving from television into publishing. So Simon and Schuster owns the book rights for as long as it's in print.
Okay.
So as long as and it's the same thing with Blueberry and Pancakes. As long as they're printing books, they own the publishing rights. But we own the IP, and we own all the motion rights, all the stage rights, all games, all that stuff. So it's like, and like there has been like some interest from like animation and stuff like that, which is exciting. So it's like we're able to talk about that and kind of explore that side of it while still doing the publishing stuff, like that not being affected.
You've been very successful in publishing a book. Has there ever been any like passion projects that you and Jason have that you might think, you know what, it's 2023, we could probably self-publish if we so choose, but you have a really good agent, you wouldn't do that anyway then, would you?
No, we definitely would. I mean, that's like how, it's like we're working on a thing right now that we definitely want Erica to take out and to sell, But like if
Right.
she doesn't, like we'll just make it. Like at least we'll make like part of it, and
Right.
do the same thing that we did with Barb, like go to Comic Cons and comic book festivals and just get it out there, because it's like, I mean, why not? At least it's like then, it's not that much of an investment. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, a couple months, couple $100, print up some comic
Right.
books, like and get it out there. So no, I think like the self-publishing, I mean, my whole career has all been about making something. It's like we've done lots of like asking permission and like pitching ideas, and sometimes that goes, but like when you make something and like put it out into the world, somebody responds to it. Like it might not be the thing that you like, might not be like the home run that you're hoping, but it's like somebody is gonna,
Right.
I don't know. I feel like that's definitely the way to go.
How do you make that balance between this is a story I really want to tell, or this is a story I think that's really going to sell? How do you balance that?
Yeah, it is. It is a balance. I mean, it is like there is part of me that wants to do the like the Dan and Jason version of Breaking Bad, the like, let's do a story about a villain who doesn't learn anything. But it's like, but I feel like that's going to be, it's like, I need a much larger nest egg. Like, I need a much larger, cushion to like do that kind of experiment. So it's like, that's really what it is. It's like, yes, we have to keep on selling things, and we have to keep on like, making something out there that people want to read. But hopefully eventually it's like, we will be in a position where we can just experiment and like try things. And, I would love to do stuff like for adults, like grown-up stuff.
Right.
Definitely. And some stuff that's coming up is going to be still for kids, but is going to be like aesthetically darker. Like we're kind of like going into like a more like Halloween-y, like creepy vibe, which I think will be really fun.
Right.
So it's like there's lots to explore and play around with.
Because you're artist and you're a writer. Is there anything that you would actually do you always see yourself illustrating your own work, or would you ever be in a position where you would illustrate somebody else's work or write something that somebody else would illustrate?
So we just illustrated this book called Tiny Spoon versus Little Fork.
Okay.
And so this is the first thing that we've done that we didn't write. So it was written by Constance Lombardo, who's this really great author. It's just this like, and it's really like it's like almost like a children's book for like babies, like toddlers. And it's just about this fork and the spoon who like are like kind of competing for who gets to feed the baby. But it was so fun. Like it was like, it's full of like comedy and like physical comedy, and it's like really silly and like, so like we love just like pure illustration. And there's something kind of freeing too about like doing somebody else's story.
Right.
It's like you're not like all caught up in it emotionally. You're just trying to make something that's like gonna grab the viewer and like, just kind of plus the story as well as you can. And on the other side of that, like we also like the idea of writing a story and then handing it off. Like especially if we got an opportunity to work with an artist that we really love. I feel like that could also be like a really fun, satisfying experience. Like seeing what someone else brings to your work can be really exciting.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. So listen, so Dan, if people want to learn more about you and Jason, what's the good place that they could go to?
So like we're okay at social media, like we're not the best, but Instagram is probably the best, and it's Dan and Jason. At Dan and Jason. @ Dan and Jason, all spelled out. And then we also have Facebook and a website which is in desperate need of updating. But it's like, but I'm so happy to be on this podcast, and like one thing that we're trying to do is like just be more active and more present like in the comics and artist community. So it's like if anyone ever wants to reach out to us or talk to us, we do lots of school visits. We work with Cliff, the Children's Literacy Foundation. It's like we love like getting out there and like meeting kids and authors and artists and just like mixing it up.
Great. Yeah. Perfect. Well, listen, Dan, so make sure you and Jason come back on when you get your third book out. This has been great. It's been a great honor talking to you.
It was such a pleasure. It was so great. We loved you. Yeah.